You love your weekly dose of bacon as my podcast, but you need even more bacon. Well, just go over to baconismypodcast.com. You can engage even more with us over there. It's a pathway to our music, extra content, our social media pages. Most importantly, grab yourself some pretty sweet swag and put it all over your body parts. Again, that's baconismypodcast.com. Listen to some tunes, pick up some merch, and tell us, what's your bacon?
Do you guys mind if I go refill my glass?
Not at all. Not
Absolutely.
at all.
We're doing it.
BRB.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, this isn't live, so feel free if anybody needs to go get a drink.
I will go get a drink.
All right. See, she knows now.
She's like,
I need
the
to
first
drink to
7
do
questions.
this.
She's like, I need a drink.
I can't be left out. I can't be the Debbie Downer here. I'll be back.
Please join us.
Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another wonderful edition of the best Monday podcast
with bacon,
in the title
on Strangerhood TV.
On Strangerhood TV.
Yeah.
Bacon is my podcast. And today we have special guests, Kristen and Sam from the band Conquer Divide. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Good. Doing great.
So
hanging out.
Yeah,
Now the fun thing is, like, we actually we contacted you guys. What was it, like almost a year ago?
when I first started reaching out for guests.
Yeah, you were
on
one of the
podcast.
first bands that we reached out
nice.
to, and we actually reconnected with you literally an hour before this podcast.
Yeah.
And
Sorry
it was,
about that.
We had a different guest. No.
It's awesome because we had a different guest.
Yeah.
And he was scheduled to be on.
Unprofessional.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he canceled. Like, he had his publicist go, well, he's not going to make it tonight, and he'll let you know if he can reschedule. And I was like, no, he doesn't have to let me know because we're not going to reschedule that. And then all of a sudden I got the email back from you guys, and we were kind of going back and forth with dates and stuff. And I said, my wife said, just ask if they want to come on tonight. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
Nothing like last minute. Thank you guys. That's so awesome.
He was on his way here.
Worked out.
I got the text and it was like, Conquer Divide's on tonight. And I was like, what? What's happening? And I was like, oh, good. We're totally unprepared. That's great. But
It's more fun that way.
It's all good.
yeah, we are.
We're also unprepared, so we can all be unprepared together.
We are together. It's awesome. So thank you guys. It's cool to have you guys on.
Of course.
Awesome.
Well, first off, Sam, you are. We spoke about this earlier. You are our second Canadian.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're made with maple syrup, like our last Canadian, and are as nice as them.
I am.
Yes.
Well, yeah, probably.
One part maple syrup, one part poutine.
Yeah, exactly. And Kristen, first off, like we you do a little bit of research, and you are an ICU nurse, and
Yes.
you must have had a hell of a year, and we
Yes.
want to thank you.
Thank you.
Because,
Thank you. You are amazing. I couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
No, I don't have the stomach.
You are a badass. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We can-
Thank you for thanking me.
Absolutely. Like that had to be the shittiest year of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It's still not great, but it's getting better.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and we don't have to talk about it or anything like that. We just definitely wanted to kind of like point it out.
I'm an
and
open book.
to
but-
give you some shine there and just say thank you and let everybody know that, like, hey, you think the band's cool? Guess what? She's a frontline warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Mhm.
So
Working in
thank you very
COVID
much.
units,
Yeah.
of course.
yeah.
So like now COVID is kind of like opening up, lifting bans and stuff. People are getting vaccinated. So, and you guys got tons of new music coming out. You had your first single earlier this year, and then you have Messy out now. Your cover of Billie Eilish.
Mhm.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Is that how the
I think
kids are
so.
saying it now?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just her name.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's how everyone says it. The mom. I think the mom says it like
yeah,
that.
maybe.
Or
So
I
yeah.
mean, they do say William Eyelash.
They might say William Eilish. Yes, that's also true.
So are you guys gonna like play any shows anytime soon? Or are you guys
Yeah,
working on putting out a new record?
What's the next few
What's
months
going
kind of
on?
look like for you guys?
So we've got writing sessions coming up actually next week for like 2-ish weeks, and then we're going to try to finish the rest of the record. We've got 6 songs right now, and then we need to probably write and record another 6. So yeah, just writing the whole summer, and then we might play some festival shows in the fall if they come up, but if not, we'll be promoting the record and touring in 2022 is the game plan. We're
Awesome.
not, I mean, if it happens this year, it happens, but if not, we're just focusing
More looking
on
forward.
finishing the record. Yeah.
Gotcha. One thing I think I thought was like super interesting about you guys is one, you're from all over the place. You're all from different places,
Yeah.
right? But it's been that way since the inception of the band. I was seeing about how like YouTube auditions and things like that, and Kristen, you kind of you were spearheading putting this whole thing together at the beginning.
Yep.
So what about doing it what attracted you to doing it that way? Was it just kind of a lack of finding people that you wanted to play with around you, or was it easier that way, or like were you able to be more choosy?
More or less. So I had been in 2 all-female bands prior to Conquer Divide, and they were just from my local area, and they were great, but it's a little bit limiting. So I wanted to put something together with, I guess, more professional musicians, and I just said, heck with it. I don't care where they're from. I don't care if they're all over the world. I mean, I was auditioning people in Amsterdam and stuff. Like,
Right.
I just didn't care. I was like, I'm not going to let distance limit us. Because it is hard. It's specifically hard finding females that are really competent players, but that also like this style of music, metalcore or hard rock. So yeah, I just didn't really let countries or states limit me. And so at one point we had, our previous drummer was from Serbia, and then Izzy was over in the UK, but she actually moved here. She's in Michigan now, only like 20 minutes from me. And then, we're all over the place. Kia she was living in South Carolina when she auditioned, and then New York for a bit. Now she's in Colorado, and Janelle's in Texas, and Sam obviously is in Canada. So yeah, we're all over the place. But that's how it's always been. It works.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's super cool. Like it was eye opening for me when I read that, because I have, as anybody that's been in bands knows, you kind of like, it's finding those people that you gel with, and it's finding those people that have the same kind of the same focus and the same drive as you is super hard. And then to only be able to do that in your town is even harder, because how many people are doing that, and how many of them play guitar? All of them.
Especially if you're in a small town, it's like, and you have a small scene, and there aren't a lot of musicians in general. Plus, they might not like your genre. And if you're, I don't know, even in a bigger city. I mean, I'm from Vancouver originally, and like there were a decent number of musicians there, but it's just like with the internet, why would you not try and find people who are just like you? And
I'm surprised more people haven't done that, to be honest. I think you guys are the first band that I've really heard of that entirely kind of put themselves together that way. And it makes so much sense. Like Sam, you're right. You're absolutely right. For you, like, How did you come about becoming a part of the band, and how was that kind of like? Was that a new thing for you? You know, Kristen kind of planned it out that way. Were you kind of like, I can audition from here and kind of do it this? You know, was that a different thing or?
Well, Kristen got in touch with me like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, when she was trying to find musicians. She was looking for a drummer, and it didn't work out at the time, and I was in kind of a different place in my life and stuff like that. And when Kristen basically asked me if I was, interested, and Chemicals was coming out and things like that. And I had done it before, actually twice, because a couple of years ago, a Brazilian band they wanted specifically a female metal drummer in Canada or the US to come on tour with them in like less than a week, because their drummer quit out of the blue. Right. So I had to learn their set in less than a week. I flew out. I did a North America tour with them. I did a Europe tour with them, and I realized that I can like, I don't need to have the band that I'm playing with be local. And I did it again with another tour with a band from Mexico, and they toured in Canada. They needed a drummer. Their drummer couldn't do it, so I filled in for that. So it really, I think, just as a musician, as long as you do your homework and you're doing stuff on your own and you're prepared, then you don't need to be practicing once or twice a week with a local band, as long as you're practicing on your own, and you get together a couple days, couple weeks before a tour or a gig, just to make sure everyone gels together, shakes off the rest, and then you're ready to go. So as long as everyone does their homework, I think pretty much anyone could do it.
I think that's so awesome. Like, I think that's so cool.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, so in a world of streaming services, where can you find breaking news, live sports, and a mountain of entertainment? Look no further than Paramount Plus. With plans as low as $5.99 per month, you'll gain access to the following: live news from both national and local CBS networks, live sports from the NFL, NCAA, PGA, and much, much more. Your favorite MTV, BET, Nickelodeon, and Comedy Central shows from past and present. New original content like The Stand or Star Trek Picard or SpongeBob's Camp Coral. Smithsonian Channel shows and documentaries, movies, and much, much more. Go to baconismypodcast.com, click on the sponsors tab, and click on that Paramount Plus link, and open yourself to peak streaming service. That's baconismypodcast.com. Click on the sponsors tab, then on the Paramount Plus link, and dive into thousands of episodes, live TV, original series, and hit movies right now. Do it.
It definitely was one of those things where when I read that, like, about the story of you guys coming together, I literally had that moment where I was like, God damn it. Why?
Yeah.
Why did I not think of that? It's like one of those things that it seems like, oh, that's so smart. That's obvious.
Especially now with, communication and social media and YouTube and everything's so accessible and the way things are now, take advantage of it.
What's the writing process? What's the writing process kind of been like for you guys?
So I do most of the writing with Izzy on guitar, and then I write the vocals as well for the most part. And then we just kind of, Izzy and I get together in person, obviously, and then we'll demo something out and send it to the rest of the band. And we just do it online.
Yeah, that's that. After my last band, that's kind of how I adopted, the same thing. It's I'm just gonna write it, just send it out. All right, guys, what do you think? What should happen? And again, technology.
Everybody's set up like Kia's. She's got her own DAW and microphone set up, so she can demo something easily and send it back to us, within a day or whatever. So it's super easy now with the internet. This would be impossible if it wasn't for the internet.
Yeah, you think it's got to kind of like almost be more convenient.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You're not sitting in the room with 4 people all trying to get ideas out at once. Everybody has time to kind of like, okay, here's my idea.
Exactly.
You sent me this. I'm going to spend some time with it and not just like throw out every idea that I have right now and just confuse the room.
Right.
And then if it's no good, you can also
Exactly.
go, oh, I lost the Dropbox link. It's not working. I haven't done that.
I don't like it. Sounds nicer in an email than it does if you're looking at someone in the face and going like, your idea is shit. That's terrible.
I don't usually say that, but what I'll say is I think we could beat that. I think we can one up that idea.
See, there you go. That's a band.
I say there's no bad ideas because you don't want to censor yourself until you, I don't know, really get something laid out. I always say, what's that?
I was saying everyone in your band has so many different influences and stuff too. It seems that it's like you're going to get ideas from everywhere. So to keep the door open to kind of like, okay, let's see how we can fit that and make that work.
Right.
Must be like part of the writing process.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it makes everything stay fresh too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how
Yeah,
has that kind of like translated into you guys like forming your sound as a band? You know, like what do you think that's done to kind of like help you get there?
I don't know. This record is different because the first record was already written when a lot of the members joined, and so this second record is kind of all new because we've got brand new members in it, and so I don't know if we've. And plus, being 5 years down the road from our last record, we've changed our taste so much. So I still feel like we haven't necessarily found our sound. I don't know if I can say that for sure. I still feel like we're trying to find our sound.
Yeah, even if you listen to the difference between like Chemicals and Messy, like there's still definitely like the same kind of vibe, but two totally,
absolutely
different sounds.
Well, then there's that remix of Chemicals also. It's got a little bit more of that, like a little more techno
EDM.
influence, a little bit of dance and EDM type. Yeah. So yeah, it's like there's an allowance, and then there was an acoustic record. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I mean, we're all over the place. So we love all kinds.
Which
of
is
music.
awesome though. That's what makes for good songs. You know, you gotta. Unless you're writing the same song every time, which is fine if that song is a hit song every time. You know, if you're AC/DC, be AC/DC.
Right.
I love AC/DC. I don't want to hear them do a techno remix of something. I don't want it. But if you're not that, then branch out, do everything,
Right.
Like even just the two songs that we did a jazzy
we did we did
like nasty rockabilly barroom disgusting song.
And then a screamo song.
And then a screaming song.
and a screamo pop song. Yeah. So you gotta kind of do that. I think that's cool. I think that's very cool.
For sure.
I think we would just get bored if we did the same song all the time.
Totally.
We'd be bored to tears.
We'll be right back.
All right. I'm sure you get it by now, but here at Bacon Is My Podcast, our dogs are our family too, and we love to give them a little something extra to look forward to every once in a while. That's why we subscribe to BarkBox. Bruce, Bane, and Bruno are all treated to 2 brand new durable toys every month, plus a unique pack of treats that keep them excited every single month. And we have a special offer for you, just for being a Bacon Is My Podcast consumer. Go to baconismypodcast.com right now, scroll to the sponsors, click on that BarkBox link, and you'll receive an extra toy in your first BarkBox. So head on over to baconismypodcast.com, click on that BarkBox link, and spoil your favorite four-legged friend today.
So you guys, you were working with Joey Sturgis. Your husband.
Who's conveniently cooking dinner right now.
That's awesome.
Let him know we enjoy his vocal.
Yeah, thank you for his plugins. Real quick sidebar. I when Big Sur the operating system came up, he put a post about something and said something about like is there something that should be fixed, and I put Big Sur. And he immediately jumped on and he was like, "Wait, what's wrong? What happened?" I'm like, No. I'm saying Big Sur sucked. You guys are great. You're great." But yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
you've been working with him, and then now you've got Tyler Smythe from Danger
Smith.
Kids working with you too.
It's just Smith with a Y. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't pronounce names well.
Well, no, but in
Oh,
the
good.
truth, there's
It
a
does
Y
look
there.
like Smythe.
There's a Y there.
Yeah. Okay, so he's sticking up for me. That's cool.
Yeah.
So how
I got you.
does that dynamic change? Like do they work together? Have you been working with the two of them together or kind of like separately? How
Different sessions, yeah. So we demoed the chemicals and messy out here in Michigan, and then I actually flew to Los Angeles, and Tyler did production on both of them, and then flew back and then re-recorded it again with Joey. It's been all over the place. That song, both of the songs have been through so much in the last 2 years.
Well, that's what happens when you have a second producer.
Yeah. But it's been great. Tyler and Joey are great friends. Tyler was actually kind of like Joey's understudy for a couple of years, way back in the day when Joey used to live in Indiana. Tyler, and he lived in Ohio. He would drive out and help him in his studio. So, and then eventually he went off on his own, and he's crushing it, man. I mean, obviously Grammy nominated. He's killing it. So I'm happy to have the opportunity to work with him because so many bands want to work with Tyler right now, and he's so busy. So just the fact that he has even worked on these two songs is a miracle. But very happy. He's a good buddy.
What part of Michigan are you in?
So I live in Ann Arbor, which is like west of Detroit, about an hour.
Yeah. I'm from Indiana. I grew up in Indiana. Yeah, I was born in Ohio and then grew up in Indiana.
Okay.
But my dad's family's from Michigan. But they're from the UP up in Ironwood, so it's like almost Canada. Almost Canada,
Yeah.
Sam. We're almost there.
So
Not
close.
quite.
My parents live just below the bridge.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I've actually been there like a number of times. I've been to Ann Arbor a bunch of times.
Okay, cool.
I've had bands play there and like Battle Creek and all those places.
Yeah.
Hamtramck. There's not enough vowels in that one.
No, that's a lot.
Yes. Yes. I've played there before.
Yep. So when I saw that, I was like, oh man, I'm sort of a townie. I've been there a bunch. I've got family way up north.
Farmington. I think it's Farmington. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they have snowmobile parking lots in restaurants? Because that's what they have where my dad grew up.
That's north.
Yeah, that's quite north. Quite north.
I think Izzy teaches out in Farmington, guitar lessons.
Okay.
Nice.
So Sam, like he said, we have you're our second Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to pivot off of like the music questions. Once we really start getting into interesting answers for the music questions, I like to completely shift focus and just take us away from those. And I want to know things like I saw. I don't know if it was an interview, but it was a video that you did where you mentioned a maple syrup heist. And I want to know more about this. And it shocked me to my core, but I do love maple syrup. So
those three
I
words
need to
together are super interesting.
Right.
Maple syrup heist.
It sounds so Canadian. It's
It
like the
does.
most Canadian ever Canadian.
It implies
Great
that
Maple Syrup Heist is going to be the name of our next record.
Yes.
it implies that Canadians, when they steal something in bulk, it's gonna be something like maple syrup. Like that's all we do. We don't rob banks. We don't hold up businesses. We rob maple syrup.
In my mind, I was like, Americans came up there and were trying to steal maple syrup because our syrup ain't shit down here. And so That's what I thought. I wasn't even putting it on you guys. I was like, those poor Canadians.
It was like that
the
embarrassing
American jerks are
bootleg.
going over there,
suffering.
We have that embarrassing bootleg maple product that Annie brought.
Yeah, right? Like brown sugar water syrup,
maybe.
So please tell me about this maple syrup heist. I need to know.
First of all, I hope that there's like a fake syrup brand that on the label says maple syrup ? I really hope that that's a thing.
I do too. There is some that say maple syrup product.
Yes.
I'd like to see ish
actually
on one too.
Ish.
That bottle might be somewhere here.
Amazing. So maple syrup heist, all I know about it is that it was just like a huge theft from like a maple syrup warehouse, like at a factory or something. I don't know if it was a distribution center or something, but I just know that it made the news because it was so ridiculous. And like a huge quantity of maple syrup was stolen. I don't know if they ever found out who did it. I don't know what those people did with it. Like, it's pretty expensive. So maybe they were just like selling it, to markets or something really innocent like that. I have no idea what they did with it.
Maple syrup.
Black market maple syrup. The black
Probably
market
tastes better.
maple syrup heist. That's the other name for it. I think that's great. I think there needs to be a story. You need to make up a story so that you can tell it. And it needs to be like an Ocean's 11, like style,
We're getting the gang back together.
Right, exactly.
As long as it was Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13.
Well, that should. If you guys ever decide to do a comedy-based video, it should be you guys committing a maple syrup heist.
I'm here for that.
Or maybe we'll steal the idea.
Maybe we can steal
Canadian
it.
tour. Yeah, tour in Canada. That's when it'll happen.
Which is fantastic. Like,
right, yeah.
I just think that's fantastic. I've been to Canada a couple of times. I went to Montreal twice, and I had a great time. I loved it. I thought it was super fun, super cool. But I didn't get to. I went there with like a girlfriend's family, and so it was like we were going there to see other family, and I was like, can we go out? Can we meet people? Can we do social things and learn about Canada? And it was like, nope, we're going to this house and we're going to eat what they have at the house. And so I didn't really get to. I didn't have poutine in Canada. I've had it in Upper New York. So I do love it though. I do love it though. Cheese curds.
Blasphemous.
Don't go away. We'll be back right after these messages.
Hey, are you an aspiring podcaster or content creator, but you're not sure where to start? Are you a current podcaster or content creator who's stuck in a rut? Do you need to figure out more engaging ways to spice up your next interviews? We suggest Pod Decks. Unique conversation starter cards are going to help you come up with engaging topics for episodes. They'll help aim you more into a deeper discussion, sometimes just break the ice between you and your guests. So head over to poddecks.com right now, and you can use the promo code BACON. Yeah, you heard me right. The promo code BACON, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Again, just use the promo code BACON at checkout at poddecks.com for 10% off your entire order, because everything is better with bacon.
Yeah.
Have you had, Sam? Well, you guys have toured New York. Sam, you've toured. Have you had New York's poor imitation of poutine, which is cheese fries with gravy? It's at most diners in New York, and what they do is they throw some like thick wedge fries that are not crispy enough, and then they throw some mozzarella cheese on it, throw it under the broiler, don't melt it quite enough, which I think is actually a poutine thing also. Like, they're not all the way melted, but they're actually curds instead of like weird shredded cheese. And then throw brown gravy on it. And it's good, but it's not poutine.
That's pretty much how I would feel about it. I would totally eat that, but I wouldn't call it poutine.
Well, yeah. There's nothing wrong with, Yeah. You want some fries with cheese and gravy? Nah.
Yes.
It's never, yeah. Exactly.
You know, it's actually a game changer. Back in high school, we used to get, it was fries, then strips of bacon, cheese, and then we used to dip it in blue cheese. But the way you had to eat it was you broke you break like a piece off and you roll it up almost like an apple,
Right.
and you dip it and like that.
Oh,
we used to call it the heart attack.
blue cheese is
In high
fantastic
school.
with bacon.
And we were able to go to the diner and order the heart attack. It was spectacular.
We are.
There was a tour I was on once where the hosts that we were staying with just basically took chunks of cheese, wrapped it in bacon, and then just like put it in the oven. And that sounds like a leveled up version of what I had.
Yeah, I mean that sounds amazing. I recently saw.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say,
No.
why do
Fantastic.
Americans eat like they have free healthcare?
So true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's yeah.
I recently saw a. You guys do a lot on YouTube, and you formed a lot with YouTube. I recently watched. Do either of you watch like cooking or food shows on YouTube?
Oh
Either of you
yeah.
familiar with like binging with Babish or either any of those things? There's a guy. The show's Binging with Babish, and
Okay.
he recreates foods from TV shows, movies, cartoons, and stuff. And then he also does like shows like cooking tips and home cooked stuff. But his big thing is like, okay, we're gonna make the Krabby Patty today, and I'm gonna make it with what I think they are trying to say, and then I'm gonna try and make a good version of it. And today we're gonna do this lasagna from The Sopranos that was the wife's lasagna, and he goes through all that stuff. And he did poutine. And he did like this kind of shitty version of it, and then he put out another video going like, I blew it the last time with my poutine, so I brought on Maddie Matheson from Canada to tell me how to really do it and then show how he did it again. And I watched that the other day, and then I was like, oh, we have a Canadian on I can talk to about poutine. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, so I'm from Vancouver, and when I moved to Quebec almost 4 years ago now, because poutine isn't really that common in most of Canada, it's really a Quebec thing, and you can get it in like New Brunswick and stuff. I mean, you can get it usually here and there, but it's everywhere in Quebec. Like every like if you want to upgrade your fries to poutine, like you can add, pay $2 or whatever. And when I moved to Montreal, the first couple of weeks was poutine multiple times a day. Sometimes like it was disgusting. And after 2 or 3 weeks, because I had never had access to poutine like this. And I was like, I have to try all these spots, and all my friends had recommendations, and I'm trying a different place like every couple days. And we lived near, like in a really populated area with lots of poutine restaurants. I felt absolutely disgusting. Would not recommend. Like, get it once in a while because it's awesome, but it's just like greasy late night drunk food. So if you don't eat it too much, it was a mistake.
Hangover cure food,
Right.
Yeah.
So Kristen, do you have a like a guilty food item, like I eat this and pretend that I have free healthcare item?
Oh gosh, that's tough. I love all kinds of food. Joey and I are big foodies, so we're constantly trying to find Michelin star restaurants wherever we go. So I guess that's kind of my guilty pleasure, because we like to do tasting menus where
That's awesome.
You just kind of show up and the chef like cooks you, I don't know, 10 dishes or something. They're like small plates and they look all fancy, the stuff you see on MasterChef or whatever. Right. That's my guilty pleasure. But the hard thing is when you go to some of these places and you order a tasting menu, it'll say like, oh, this is a 10-course lunch menu. And then when you actually show up and you sit there and they're bringing you all the plates out, it ends up being like 25 plates and it takes 4.5 hours to get through. It's insane. So we did one in London. We went to a restaurant, Gordon Ramsay, which is a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Mm-hmm. And we did a lunch thing and we're like, oh yeah, we'll go do this and then maybe stop at a museum afterwards. We got there at noon and didn't get out until 4:30. They were still trying to feed us as we were leaving. So we're sitting, they put us like in the waiting room and they're like, here's your check. You can take time and sign it and whatever. I don't know. And then as we're signing it, trying to leave this place, they're bringing us more desserts and they look insane. There's like, like smoke coming off of them. It's not like some little shitty dessert. It's like the best dessert you've ever seen in your life. You're like, fuck, like I can't eat anymore. Please stop bringing me food. Like, please. Then they bring you breakfast for the next day. Like as you're walking out the door, I'm like, oh my God, this is so that's my guilty pleasure is going to these crazy restaurants.
When they're doing that, do you feel like a dick if you're not eating it? Like even if you're full, are you just kind of okay?
Yeah.
Well, they made it for you.
Yeah, that's exactly because it takes like days to prepare some of these dishes.
Yeah,
they're like foraging out in the woods, picking plants, and I don't know. It literally takes them like forever to make these dishes. So yeah, I do feel guilty because I know what goes into it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll eat this too. And then we end up like not going to the museum. We just went back to our hotel and slept until the next day because it was probably over 3,000 calories of food. If I don't know.
God.
Anyway, yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. Just binging it.
That counts.
Counts.
Like my wife and I I think tastings are the best because you get just a little bit of everything.
So good. Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
So
like
good.
I'm all for like, hey, let's get like 4 or 5 different things and let's just pick.
I like that. I've never done like a tasting at like a major restaurant. I remember I had one time where I was at this Italian restaurant in New York where the only table that was available was literally right next to where the chef was preparing everything, and he was kind of preparing everything out in the open, which was cool, but it was hot as hell because he's got like a grill there, and like we're just sitting there sweating, and so he kept just giving us things that he was preparing. I guess like he would cut it off of other people's. I don't know what he was doing, but it was like he'd be like, try this and put it on because we were sitting next to the chef. So I imagine
that's cool.
That's
it's
sort
like,
of what it's like.
Yeah. You don't get to pick what you want. They just feed you.
That was amazing.
They say, do you have any allergies? And
have you ever done a tasting where you've been like, this is I don't like where you haven't liked more than one thing in a row?
No, because I think if it's at that level where they're doing tasting menus, like they're usually pretty legit.
Doesn't matter what it is. It's probably awesome. Whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like this? No, you will. All right, I do.
Yeah.
So you guys both, seasoned touring bands and stuff. I heard a hot rumor that Kristen, you are a prank master.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to hear about this.
So yeah, you do need to divulge because we are from 2 different bands and we've been playing in 2 different bands for the better part of 10 years, but always been friends, and we were always locked in a prank war. So
yes.
And then this kind of like spawned something called Tasting Is My Passion, which we just pick awful things for.
Yeah, now we do the same thing where it's like, I found something for us to eat. And
like this is that's a gummy bear. It's a little nitro.
Okay.
And it's 9,000 Scoville, 9 million Scovilles.
Oh,
sorry.
No.
Yeah. So we're gonna have these.
I found the Death Nut Challenge, and that's 13 million.
Is it one nut that's super spicy? Just one nut?
No, it's
it's worse. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-part series where they walk you through, and they're like, here, you try this one first, then go here, then go here. Now you're gonna die, and then there's 2 more. So we do things like that to each other all the time.
Yeah, that's where our prank war escalated to.
But it did start with like things like filling the doors between the studios with packing peanuts or ball pit balls.
That's awesome.
They did it to us.
Thank you.
It was like a Wednesday night gig in the city, so it was like a 2-hour drive back at like 3 a.m. on a Wednesday night, and we opened the door to our studio and just ball pit balls come falling out, and we were just like, oh.
And then we shrink wrap their van.
They shrink wrap my van. All kinds of good stuff.
It was fun. So, what is your
what do you
best
got?
prank? What do you got, Kristen?
I got a couple. So, it took me a very long time to think of these things because I want to do things that hadn't been done before to these bands because we've done the shrink wrap too, and it's pretty common. So I was like trying to think outside the box. So for when we toured with Capture the Crown, we took the tires off of their trailer and rolled them on stage during their set. That was one. And then they got us back by taking the seats out of our van and putting them on top of our trailer. So that was the other thing. Let's see. My favorite one is probably, well, it's a tie. So when we toured with Elisana, I mean, we were at it was like the end of the tour, and it's like a tiny little venue, and there's only like 10 people there. So it didn't matter. But we ended up convincing the sound guy to pull their backing tracks on the last song, and we put porn over the PA instead of their backtracks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
so that
great.
Was a good
That's
one.
amazing.
This guy.
But I've got a tie. There's one more that I thought was my peak. So we toured with Slaves, not the current iteration of Slaves, but the previous iteration of Slaves. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this was their last show ever, and we wanted to get them good. So there was multiple people pranking them at the same time. So I felt bad for them. But anyway, my prank in particular, I drove to a Walmart prior to the show, and I got a case of water and like the shittiest Russian vodka I could find and super glue. And I dumped out all the water in pretty much, I'd say like 3/4 of the case, the front half. And I replaced it with vodka, and then I super glued the rings back to the lids.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it took a while.
That's commitment.
When nobody was looking, and I made sure like not even their tour manager knew about this. Nobody on their team knew about this. So when nobody was looking and they're all busy, I don't know, loading gear or whatever they were doing, I switched out the stage water. I took the 12-pack away. I threw it like in a corner somewhere under the stage, and I replaced it with all the vodka. And so the tour manager comes up, they're all ready to go, and he starts passing out like 2 bottles to each member. He gives 2 to Johnny Craig and 2 to their old drummer Ty, and then 2 to Alex Lyman, the guitar player. And anyway, so they get into it. They play their first song, and I think everything is on track, so they got to keep it rolling. Right. And after the first song was over, Ty, the drummer, he's obviously the thirstiest. He picks one up and takes a sip, like a big gulp, because he's thirsty. And he ends up like spitting it all over his drum set after he realizes it's just straight vodka. I mean, and this stuff, it basically tastes like rubbing alcohol. It's not quality vodka. Right. And mind you, they've got tracks rolling, so the next song starts, and he's got to jump in, like he can't stop. And he's trying to get the tour manager's attention, and nobody's looking at him, so they just got to keep rolling. And then finally they get through the second song, and I think it was Alex Lyman who opened his vodka up. And he takes a sip, and he's like looking at it, he's like, what the hell? And so then he starts trying to flag the singer down, the tour manager down, who then goes over to the side stage, and he pulls out like a new bottle of vodka for him. He hands like the fresh bottle to Alex, and then they keep going. Okay, they thought it was just like a one and done prank. They thought it was just one bottle, but it wasn't. And so they play another song, and then Alex opens the new bottle, and it's still vodka. And he's like, now at this point, he's like fucking pissed. And Johnny Craig, he's talking to the crowd, and like, I don't know, it's in between songs or whatever. So he runs over, and I'm sitting like in the back of the venue at the merch tables, just like this. And so he runs over side stage, and he's bitching like, what the fuck? And so then the tour manager starts opening every bottle in the thing, and they're all vodka, every single one. Like, opens another one. He's like, what the fuck? So finally, they found the real case of water like hiding under a bunch of equipment. And Johnny Craig, by the way, is oblivious to all of this. He's still talking to the crowd, doing his thing. He has no idea. He finally opens his up and he takes a sip and he looks at it and he's like, yeah. Like, he was the
that sounds about right.
He was the only one that was happy to get the vodka water. It was amazing.
Don't go away. We'll be back right after these messages.
All right, we got to take a quick time out. As you can probably tell by now, Jim and I, we're t-shirt guys. And we're always looking for the most comfortable and best fitting t-shirts possible when it comes to ourselves or our merch. Sometimes they're soft and they unravel in a few washes. Sometimes they're durable, but they feel like sandpaper on your nipples. And it's just not our thing. Well, maybe it's Jim's thing, but it's definitely not my thing. And sometimes you clean your shirts and from sweating at work or on stage, they just kind of get all funky even after you clean them. Well, Fresh Clean Tees is a solution for all your t-shirt woes. With multiple styles and colors, they keep you looking so fresh and so clean. Go to baconismypodcast.com, click on the sponsors tab, and click on the Fresh Clean Tees link and start looking great and feeling great without spending a fortune. Again, that's baconismypodcast.com. Click on the sponsors tab, then scroll to that Fresh Clean Tees link to start looking comfortable and stylish at affordable prices.
So meanwhile, while this is happening, we were not the only band pranking slaves. Who was it? Outline and Color? I think it was Outline and Color. They managed to find some plastic Tyco like toy cymbals that were like this big, and they just started taking Ty's cymbals off of his drum set and replacing them with these plastic ones during the middle of their song. So that was going on, and then on top of that, Micah Relocate and the rest of my band were outside covering their van with sticky notes. And I'll send you a picture after this is done, because I've got a picture of this. It was crazy. And then they decided not to take the sticky notes off. They just drove back home with it. And I'm pretty sure one of them said they got pulled over for littering. Because the sticky notes were just flying off the van on the freeway. Right. So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, this guy always
they got them
like,
good.
That's great. That's. Is it weird that makes me want to tour with you guys? I'm like, I want to get in on this. How can I get in on this?
Vodka.
Oh my god.
Gas bands, I kind of feel it out. Like if they're not into it and they're absolutely like, no, like we don't want to be bothered with this. Like we're not going to prank them. But if they're good sports about it, then yeah, we're gonna think of something funny.
Fun, right? Like it's like, oh, can you top this?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, yeah.
Well, this guy's like Anchorman setting the rules. Don't hit don't hit the face. And so like he was like, you can't do anything while we're playing.
And I was like, So my thing was like, okay, but again, we're not on tours being paid. We're selling tickets and shilling things to try and like, hey, people like us. So I said, let's not ruin each other's sets. So something like I'll come up when he's standing on the front of the stage, and I'll I'll grab his shoelaces and I'll pull as hard as I can. So I'll make sure that he's got like the shitty tight shoelaces for the rest of the set.
That he did. Such a dick.
Or things that are like seem like a minor inconvenience, but really annoy you for the next like 20 minutes.
My band at the time, what I wanted to do was get one of those blow up rafts and throw it on the stage.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull it, throw it on the stage, let it inflate, and then we would have gone up in fishermen's outfits and pretended to fish on stage while they were playing, but it never happened because and left.
We did beer pong to capture the crown at one of the shows where we took a merch table on stage and started setting up beer pong in the middle of their set. They were not happy.
I think that's great. Like I just think that like what are we doing? We're you know, we're in funny outfits playing songs we made up.
Yeah. You
Right.
can't take yourselves too seriously.
With other people
You know, you
in
gotta have
funny
fun.
outfits playing songs they made up. Like, hey, I put all
Yeah.
these words together. I'm super important. Like, no, you're not. Let's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play beer pong behind you, so you go ahead. And I think that's great. I think it's super funny because you're right. At the end of the day, like we can't take ourselves. Now, I will say, like lyrically, you guys are pretty serious. Like you've got some really deep things going on, and you've got some stuff that definitely is kind of like, whoo, you went through some shit, you know, like or
Yeah.
you hear it like the one thing I've always said to people that will come to me and they go like, oh, I really get this song that you wrote. I always feel like I gotta be like, I'm sorry. Because that means that something happened to you and I'm sorry. Like I wish you didn't understand this, you know, like so that's one thing that you have. So I will say, as much as like I'm saying, like, why do we take ourselves so seriously? Like
The music
you
itself.
got some deep lyrics, you got some deep stuff
Thank
going
you.
on there. You
Yeah.
you pull it out, you know what I mean? And that's important.
I've been through some trauma.
And
Sadly.
hey, you know, like songs are an exorcism. You know, whether
for sure.
whether you're writing it, whether you're singing it, whether you're beating the shit out of some drums, whatever you're doing, it's an exorcism.
Right.
It's a way to get out what you're doing. If you're in the audience and you're screaming along, like that's your way. That's why we don't drive off bridges. That's why we don't, you know, like punch our boss. That's why we don't do, you know, like all those things. Music is that thing, and to be a band that kind of like gives people that thing that helps them not do that, you know, or that helps them kind of get through it, but also being a musician that's able to kind of like put all that together to help you exercise whatever you need to exercise too. Like I think that's super huge. So as much as I'm saying like we don't need to take ourselves seriously, like you're still creating something out of nothing that's hitting people, and that's pretty fucking important. You know, I think that's pretty awesome. So
thanks.
Also, I would flatten your tires, but like, yes. Yes.
Well, joke's on you because I actually keep a tire pump in our trailer. So,
well, to be honest, I wouldn't flatten your tires.
them.
The one joke I've always wanted to do and haven't done yet, and I almost did it to your drummer, was I've read and I've heard, and so this is for you next time if you get an opportunity. If you take a watermelon and you cut it and then you jack up the back of a car and then you lower it down so the tires are on watermelon, it creates so much friction that they can't drive away. I don't know if that's true. But I want to find out.
I would
help you
definitely
to
test that theory.
I want to find out if that's true.
I'll help you.
Although I do know if you get the like the packing bubbles, right? If you get the big ones, like a thing with the big bubbles, and you duct tape that on a tire, like the top part, as the person backs up and they back over it, they do think that they ran over something and caused a flat. And so if you put it on one tire in one spot and then another tire closer and then another tire even further, you can get 3 out of it where they get out and they're like, what the fuck?
That's harmless fun. I love that
That's
idea.
funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
3 heart attacks.
3 exactly right. Sam, are you a prankster at all?
I'm not. I laugh when other people do it. What?
Have you been pranked? Are you a prank victim, or are you kind of like, are you like Batwoman? You know what's up. You kind of keep your.
I know what's up. I think I'm usually like, someone will tell me that they're pranking someone else. Like I'm the one who's there like laughing from the sidelines. I'm not usually planning it, and I'm not usually the one pranked. But I mean, in one of my bands, like we'll like hide those pickles. Those like you get like the pickle in a like a package. You get like a gas station. They're kind of weird.
Yeah.
But at some point, one of those ended up getting passed around and like hidden on each other. Like it was just harmless. That wasn't like really a prank. It was more just like, who's got the pickle? And then you open up your case and there's the pickle and you're like, oh great, I got pickles. But
we had the same.
nothing like
We had
crazy.
the same thing. I found I was at a gas station and I found it was like an iced tea, right? But it had a bottle, like a plastic bottle, but the top of the plastic bottle was flat and there was a can top to it. So it was like the weirdest thing I ever saw in my life. I was like, it's the bottle can. So I bought it and I kept it and I would hide it in the band that we were playing with. And it was this same band, and I would go to their shows and I would bring it with me and I would hide it. And it would be like, we'd have to hide it in each other's stuff. So if we weren't playing together, someone would go to the other person's show and we'd like hide it in their gear somewhere. And we have this like now my band has an 8x10 by this online radio person that we did an interview with, and they sent us this 8x10, and it's this weirdest 8x10. It's like it's like an older lady, and she's on like a staircase, and she's like making like a sexy face and stuff, and we're like, what why did you send us this? It's the weirdest thing. We were like, okay, thank you, I guess. Cool. And she's the host of the show. And so we were like, all right, thank you for your 8x10. I appreciate it. So now we hide that in each other's gear. Like I do that within the band. So everyone in the band, like if that
Nobody's
gets hidden
safe.
in your gear, then that means you've got to put it up on your gear at the gig and at rehearsals for the next time. So Kristen, if you ever do prank your band, now you know that Sam thinks that she's got her head on a swivel and she thinks she knows what's up. So
Well,
Challenge accepted.
I don't mean that I'm gonna like stop. Most people just don't prank me because they're like, oh, she's nice. She's gonna be upset if I prank her. I think that's usually the kind of vibe where it's like, wow, I don't want to prank that person because
Don't prank the Canadian.
yeah, it's
you
like
use the Canadian politeness.
you're gonna hurt my feelings. You're gonna be very sad. But this I just remembered it was the last night of the first tour I ever went on, and the band that was headlining that we went my band went along with on the last night we had planned a prank where I wasn't involved because you'll see why in a sec, but basically it was a 6-person band. There were 2 ladies in the band and we both opted out, but all the dudes in the band that decided that they were going to go on stage during the headliner and just moon everybody, and they were going to write the band name across their asses. I'm not going to say who the band was because now people know who they are, and I don't want to embarrass them, but that same band, their drummer, who we're still friends with that band, but we went on right before them. He comes on stage while we're playing, and this is like a huge stage, and I see him kind of like kneeling or crouching right beside the hi-hat, and I was looking at him, I'm like, what are you doing here? And then he leaves. He just sits there, crouches, and then he leaves. And I'm in a cloud of fart. And I couldn't go anywhere because I'm playing.
That's foul.
It's awful.
That is foul.
That is
and I was like,
awful.
did he just come on stage just to fart on me and leave? Like,
I disagree with that prank.
That's not.
I would rather you take my tires off and put them on top of the trailer.
Yeah. Don't crop dust me.
Yeah.
Don't crop dust me.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't fair. I couldn't get him back. I mean, it was the last show.
That's messed up. That's messed up. I don't like that. I don't like
that. So we got to pay some bills because we have a sponsor.
Yes.
We have a few sponsors, but this sponsor in particular is called Poddex.
Mm-hmm.
And what Poddex is a lot like Cards Against Humanity. It's for upstart podcasters or people who don't spew out the mouth like we do.
Yes.
And it kind of helps you come up with episode ideas, interview questions, all that kind of stuff. So what we like to do is we like to have the guests pick which deck you get and then also pick the questions. So Sam, we'll have you pick the deck. You can pick either from the interview deck 1, interview deck 2. Nope, that's the blue one. The what the heck deck or would you rather deck?
Ooh, the what the heck deck. That sounds promising.
All right, that's okay. So Kristen, what we're going to do now is I'm going to shuffle them.
Yes. Mike is going to shuffle because as a person that lived in Las Vegas for a year, I am the world's worst shuffler, and
It's also kind of cute.
It's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible. So Mike does it so that it happens fast and the cards aren't everywhere. And it's not just me throwing like 10 cards into my own hand.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fan the deck. Jim's going to scroll his finger across, and you're going to tell us when to stop.
So Kristen, say stop whenever you're ready.
All right, stop.
Mind freak.
Mind freak. I do look like a bad Vegas magician, don't I? I got that thing going on. I just got to have my hair feathered.
Mind freak's from Long Island.
I have to have that. I have that. Yeah, he is. I know. His brother's a dick. We can edit that out. Or not. Oh, all right. So this is from the What the Heck deck.
Okay.
It is it's a fun question. So let's see, who should go? Well, who picked? Sam picked the deck. So Kristen, you'll answer the question first, and then that gives Sam the advantage because you get to think about it more. So Kristen, 1, have you ever been arrested? And if so, for what?
No, I'm pretty boring, you guys.
I don't think not being arrested counts as boring.
Yeah, that's not necessarily. You're just not a criminal.
I think that counts as like make okay decisions.
Yeah.
All right, Sam.
Yeah.
Have you been arrested, and if so, for what?
Nope, I've never been arrested. I'm a law-abiding citizen who's never been caught doing anything illegal.
Never been caught.
I like the way
I heard that.
I like that. I like that.
No,
Wording is so important.
I just did that for laughs. I'm really a law-abiding citizen. I'm too afraid of getting in trouble, so I don't. Yeah.
Mike, have you ever been arrested, and if so, for what?
I have not. I have not. Jim?
I have been arrested.
Of course you have.
I have been arrested. I was arrested, and I was arrested because I went into an establishment that served alcohol with my band, and we were on tour, and we picked the wrong establishment. The establishment that we picked had a lot of people that were not very welcoming to people that looked like they were in a band. It was a lot of it was in New Jersey, and they were very like there was a lot of like yo, and there was a lot of like I've watched Goodfellas 10 times.
Jaeger bombs.
So that's
Jaeger
what life is.
Jaeger bombs.
Yeah, a lot of that happening. And we were accosted. And I have somewhat of a smart mouth at times.
No.
Especially with a few drinks in me. And then a scuffle arose.
Oh.
A dust up, if you will. A dust up arose. And and I did not start the dust up, although my words may have caused it. I think my bass player's words caused it, to be honest. And so the bouncers came in, and when the bouncers came in, they grabbed the one of these things is not like the other, and they grabbed us. And then the police were called, and we honestly, like, the rest of my band, not me, literally got the shit kicked out of them by the bartenders, by the bouncers. Totally, like, just beat down. I did not. I don't know why. I had people yelling in my face, and I was like, kind of like, "What are you doing?" The cops came, and when the cops came in front of me, I was yelling also back at the cop because I felt like we were being treated unfairly, and so I let that be known. To which he said, "I need you to turn around, and I need you to put your hands behind your back." And I said, "This is bullshit." I said, "My friends on the ground right now, and these meathead douchebags are on top of us. Can you not see what's going on? Are you stupid, or are you just not looking?" And it was, this. And I was arrested, and I was marched around all the other bars, like in front of. They walked me literally around in this big circle before they put me in the cop car.
Oh, like a little
And they
parade.
put all of us in the cop car, and they drove us to the station, and then they let us out in the station, and they literally said to us, like, "You guys are stupid. What are you doing there?" And we were like, would you like a demo? Because we just played, and we would love to come back.
That's absolutely
not
a Sick
there.
as Monday story.
And that is as thick as my, yes, it is. So I was arrested, and I was arrested because I have a smart mouth.
Yeah. Well, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, enough about you.
Yeah, I was the only one that got arrested, so I was the only one that had a story.
Well,
Yeah, but
I have some funny cop stories, but I've never been arrested.
What's your funniest? Tell us.
So
one.
we played a show in just north of Chicago, and it was the first day of the tour. We rented a van, and somebody, like, not more than 2 hours after renting this van, someone backed into it. Oh. At the venue. They backed up. They were trying to leave. They hit it, and I was like, "Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me!" Like, thank God I got like the top tier insurance for this thing. So I'm like, got to call the police and got to call the rental company and yada yada. Anyway, the cops were taking forever to show up to come out and write up a report, and so the guy was like, I got to leave soon. Like, I got to work in the morning. Like, how long is this going to take? Cause I don't know. It was like a couple hours. The cops like still hadn't showed up. It's not a big deal. It's like a fender bender, whatever. They don't care. Anyway, so I call the non-emergency line back and I say, hey, like, this guy's got to go. Like, can they hurry up to get here? And I don't know, like, somehow it just got lost in translation, or maybe I just worded it poorly. But not more than 2 minutes later, like 10 cop cars showed up at this tiny little venue. Okay. And there's like 2 entrances because it's on a corner. And so they block both of the entrances. And the poor venue, like the promoters coming out, like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, you need to make these cops leave. Like, this is bad for business. Like, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. So then, like, the cops ended up, like, they were bored because we're in this small town. There's nothing going on. There's like very little crime in this area. And so they're bored. They're just hanging around. And then they find out, oh, you're an all-girl band. Like, you guys are cool. We're going to stay here and shoot the shit with you. And so, like, they didn't leave. And they, like, there's 10 cop cars in this park.
You guys got to
go. They're just hanging out with us. We got pictures with them and everything. And they're like, can we get your autograph and your photo? And, like, they wouldn't leave. And the promoter's like, what's happening? Like, you need to get these guys out of here. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They don't want to leave. They want to just hang out.
Great. Yeah. How do you tell police officers that they're killing your vibe?
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate that you want to take pictures and want, like, merch and stuff.
You guys are
blocking the driveway. Like, no one wants to come hang out here. Because it was funny. And then the other funny story involving police. We had just played a show in St. Louis, and Izzy was driving, and I want to say, I don't know, maybe she had only been in the States for like a year or two. I don't know, not a lot of driving experience here anyway. And we had an issue where our lights on our trailer would always come unhooked from the back of our van, and the lights would go out. And so we get pulled over on the highway, and Izzy's thinking, oh, it's because the lights came unplugged again, so I'll just get out and plug them back in. And we're like screaming at her, like, stay in the van, don't get out of the van. And we're like, oh my God. And she gets out of the van. And then the next thing we see, she comes back and her hands are up in the air because the cops had a gun pulled on her. And we're like, please, officer. We're like, she's from the UK. She doesn't know any better. We're like, please don't shoot us. And then thankfully he figured it out and he let us go without a ticket or anything. But that was that was a pretty scary cop moment.
That's so funny. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. I used to have a car that you couldn't put the windows down. Mm-hmm. So I actually, the first time I was pulled over in it, I had to
Oh,
roll
no.
the passenger side, and I was yelling out the passenger side, but then the passenger side wouldn't work. So the way that we were fixing it,
Oh,
the way we
no.
were fixing it was we'd open up the door panel, we'd put a 2x4 under the window so it wouldn't come down.
It stays up.
Um,
So then it doesn't come down.
so
at
then
all.
I was pulled over again. Actually, it wasn't my fault. That's a whole other story. But I had to crack the door open and say, "Officer, my windows don't work." And but yeah, same thing. He like the second I cracked the door open, he's just like,
Oh, yeah.
in on the holster, like
Yeah.
not messing
It's
around.
scary because they don't know. There's a lot of nut jobs out there. They don't know.
Super lucky that I never got pulled over in my very first car, because my very first car was like, it was a boat. First off, it was like a it was like Chrysler New Yorker, like a '79 one that my grandmother had, and like I bought it off her, and it's like super huge. Like I could, when I sat in it, I had to lean to put my hand, like my arm on the window, but the window in mine didn't work either, where I could roll the window down. It had power windows, so I could hear the motor rolling down, but the window wouldn't go down.
Yeah.
And then I had to hit the window, and it would like guillotine down into the door.
Yeah, that's bad news.
And I could only imagine, like, if I had a police officer come up to the door, and I was like, boom, and it just slid down.
You'd be dead.
Yeah, that would be
that'd be a problem.
I'd be like, officer, I need to punch the window now.
Don't freak
That
out.
doesn't work in America.
Don't freak out, man. Be cool.
It's cool.
Oh,
Absolutely.
my God.
Absolutely.
Commercial break.
We know you love your weekly dose of Bacon is My Podcast. But if you need even more bacon, make sure you head over to baconismypodcast.com, where you can engage even more with us. It's a pathway to our music, our extra content, social media pages, and most importantly, some pretty awesome swag for you to show off your bacon. Again, that's baconismypodcast.com. Listen to some tunes, pick up some merch, and tell us what your bacon is.
So everybody can check your new single "Messy" out right now on all the streaming platforms.
Yes.
I know.
Yep.
I certainly have.
I have as well. Yes.
Awesome. But where else can the world hear you? What else do you have coming up? What's happening in the world of Conquer Divide?
Well, I don't know if I can say, but we might be doing another release of Messy featuring a guest vocalist pretty soon.
Ooh,
So that's yeah.
That might happen. What other hypothetical?
That might happen.
There'll be some
Well,
new
like
YouTube content.
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
that?
new YouTube content.
Some new YouTube-
And then it's still, like I said, it's going to be not probably fall or winter by the time we put the whole second record out, because we've still got a little bit of writing to do. But
Do you guys have plans to do any? I know over COVID and everything, everybody that wasn't busy 60 hours a week saving lives was creating content online and doing live streams and things like that. And you guys actually have made a lot of content on your YouTube page. There's some cool stuff on there. So over the summer, while people are waiting to hear new music, are you planning to have more content going on there? Are you going to be doing any live things? Are you like, what kind of, is it all kind of like secretive stuff? It's going to come out when it comes out, or like what's
more YouTube content, like similar to what we've done, like, the funny videos we've done. And then, we might do some more acoustic stuff, and we'll see. I don't want to give too much away, but just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Keep them waiting. And what's the YouTube handle?
Yes,
it's a good question. I think it's Conquer Divide Music.
That should not be a good question.
It's a good question.
Oh man!
I think it's
Conquer Divide and subscribe.
You sound like all of my band members.
This would be the easiest question.
Like
That's actually
my
the
other
one
band
I-
members are like, I don't know.
Can never remember. I am
Right.
pretty sure it's / Conquer Divide Music. Yeah, it's
Well,
it's rough out there.
We'll link to it. We'll link to it in the description for this video, as well
Awesome.
as we'll link to all your other stuff too. We'll link to your
Thank
Spotify
you.
and your website and merch page. Everything that we can find. We'll definitely have all the links down below. So,
Perfect.
so don't worry. We got you covered. We got you
covered.
we got you back on that one.
Good. I'm getting old, you guys. I'm getting forgetful. So thank you.
Yeah, we're old too. We're old too. So yeah, check out Conquer Your Divide on all the social medias. So it's conquerdivideofficial.com, and that
Yes.
streamlines everything to everything else.
And that finds everything else.
And that is super important. Make sure you're buying merch.
Yeah.
Make sure you're buying.
Yes, please, because
Records.
nobody buys
Share.
music anymore.
Share it. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Share it.
Algorithms.
Fuck the algorithm.
Algorithms are the worst.
It's the worst.
Right. So share their music. Add them to your playlists. Please add them to your playlists.
Pre-save their stuff when they're coming out with new stuff.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
important too.
That's also important. So it's crazy trying to get around all that stuff. It's the
Oh my
worst
gosh,
thing.
I know.
It's great,
gotten
but it's awesome. It's
particularly
awesome shit.
worse in the last like 2-3 years, especially with Facebook.
Yeah, as a band that kind of like you guys were built around and sort of by social media and the internet and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys
Yeah.
have either of you or both of you have you fallen out of love with social media at this point? Or
It's a love-hate situation for sure. Especially with so many platforms trying to charge for you to see or to
Right.
get your stuff in front of people that already follow you. Yeah, that sucks. So we're trying to build up our email list and build up Facebook groups and stuff where it's easier to reach our fans without having to pay every time we drop a new song. So definitely join our Facebook group too and our email list.
awesome. And we'll put a link.
And we won't
in the
spam
We'll
you.
put the
We will
Facebook group.
literally only email you like twice a year. So, or when a song comes out.
That's awesome. All right, so we are going to wrap it up just because we've kept you guys for a very long time now, and we apologize for that. We know that Kristen, you're hungry. Sam, you probably need.
Yes, I am going to go eat now.
You need another drink.
So I know that we do.
You guys make us answer questions? Are you kidding me? To join your group?
They need to make sure
Oh,
that you're legit.
Yeah,
You
we
can't
gotta
be,
do
you
it.
can't be riffraff.
What if you're a
We
bot?
gotta do a
What if you're-
vibe check.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Do you consent to a vibe check?
Wait.
I
Add
yes.
your email. You better not spam me.
If twice a year is spam,
It's extremely slow spam. It's really minor spam.
Very
Are you a
minor.
Nigerian prince?
Okay.
yes. And I decided to give you all this money I've inherited.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to give you $100,000. All you got to do is send me $30,000 first, and then I promise I'll send you. Pinky swear. Pinky swear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought that question was the most California question ever, like the most LA
It is.
thing ever. Do you consent to a vibe check?
I do.
You can literally
I-
answer
I-
anything you want. You can
I always
put
consent to a
anything you
vibe
want.
check. I definitely consent to a vibe check.
So Jim, where can they find your stuff?
My stuff. I'm Jimmy G Shoes on Instagram and Twitter, and it's mostly pictures. I like shoes. I like shoes. It's pictures of my feet in different places on different stages and stuff like that. My band Craving Strange is cravingstrange.net, and that will send you to all the other places.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that from now on because saying all the things is
It's easy.
really,
Yeah,
it's long to say all the things.
it is.
is.
So, yeah,
Nobody
Craving
remembers
Strange.net.
that. So
Right,
No.
it's crazy. So yeah, cravingstrange.net, and that will send you to all the other places. We have new music out. Check it out. We're on Spotify, all that kind of stuff. Together, we are Bacon is My Passion, and we release music periodically. Who knows when? Who knows how? Who knows what it's
When we
gonna
don't
be
have
about.
guests.
When we don't have
who
guests,
pop up and they're like,
yeah. If we
we'll
didn't
do it
have
tonight.
last minute
Yes!
guests today, we would have probably tried to write a song and recorded it.
Yes.
So we'll do that later. So you can check us out. Please do. We appreciate it. Any listens that you do to either of our bands or our band together is super awesome. We know that it's so easy to not do things in life. So please, the first thing you should do right after this is listen to them.
Yes.
Listen to them. And then if you have extra time, listen to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, baconismypodcast.com will let you hear our band and also get some sweet swag. We got some cool Bacon is My Podcast swag that you can find out. And for our patrons that are listening to this without any ads, you guys know all the stuff because you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, bud?
So everything for me personally is at me, my own self, Mike. My band is Something Heavy. It's somethingheavymusic.com. I haven't been to the website in a long time. I should probably check that out. But if you want to check the social medias, it's also at Something Heavy Music.
I literally just updated my website today for the first time in probably 4 months.
Yeah. I don't know when the last time was mine, but
and I guarantee no one else did it. So it was me.
Yeah. Cool.
So guys, thank you so much. Honestly, this has been a blast. We really appreciate you guys coming on and hanging on last minute.
Of course.
You guys were unprepared. We were unprepared. We hope you had a good time with us. We love doing this. Please, the door is totally open for at the end of summer when you guys are releasing new stuff, when you're going to announce a tour, when you're going to do anything, hit us up. We'll bring you on, even if it's for like 5 minutes just to say your stuff, or we'll make an ad with you or something, whatever it is. Now that you've been on, you're part of the Bacon is My Podcast family. So we do appreciate it very much. And we will definitely be coming to see you when you're on the road. So hopefully we will be able to cheers and share a drink in person very soon.
Cheers.
Whoop, whoop. Awesome. Sam, I hope to share some poutine with you someday. And Kristen, thank you so much for everything that you do. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So much. Hope you had fun.
And listeners, don't forget to always ask yourself one thing.
Just one. Only one.
Just one.
What's your bacon?